you best switch up that attitude. You're gonna switch to being dead. Already got memes for that thing locked and loaded when that comes out. Don't worry about it. Hey guys, I'm back with another Kingdom Hearts 4 video for you guys today. I know this is old news at this point because this came out about like 2 weeks ago or something like that. I wanted to wait till TGS was over and all that information came out to start talking about other things. And now that we've got the dust settled on that, I want to talk about this because it's still something I'm very interested in because it's a very interesting proposition, to say the least. So, the Switch 2, the Switch Pro, Switch me up, daddy. The next Switch, the new Switch, the Super Switch, it's got a different name every minute. For the sake of this video, to not cause any confusion, I'm just gonna call it Switch 2. The least you can say about it is that, people are talking about it. One of the most rumored things in the world outside of the OG Switch, back when that was called the NX. Remember those days? Those were not fun times, were they? I mean, duh, of course, Nintendo's gonna follow up the Switch. It's the third best-selling console of all time, so duh, they're gonna do something probably in the same vein as the Switch as well. And it seems like we're getting into the big leak season for this thing since it seems to be coming out next year. And a couple weeks ago, we got one of the biggest and seemingly most corroborated rumors going around about the Switch 2. And if what they're saying is true in this, then the story goes that back in August at Gamescom, Nintendo had a behind closed doors meeting with high priority third-party developers, and I'm guessing some first-party stuff in there too, to show off the Switch 2, demonstrate some stuff about it, and talk to developers about the thing. I'm not a big person to believe leaks, but this story has been corroborated by several different reliable sources, so it's seeming to be accurate. There's two major demos there, at least that's been reported so far. One of them was The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild running at 4K at 60 frames per second, which that game in 4K at 60 FPS, that's gonna look sexy as fuck. The second demo, and the one that's more pertaining to this video, is apparently the Unreal Engine 5 Matrix demo was running on the Switch 2. Let me talk about it. If you've ever played the Matrix Unreal Engine 5 demo, you know how pretty that thing looks. You know how great that thing is. Really cool next-gen technology with Unreal Engine 5. That thing's insane. That's impressive in of itself, but the big thing they were emphasizing with that demo is that it's using DLSS, or Deep Learning Super Sampling. It's a technology that NVIDIA has, and it's basically a fancy upscaler that makes things look real pretty. So let's say a game runs at 1080p on the base Switch 2 hardware, which is more realistic of what games are going to be running at. DLSS uses special technology and AI to upscale the image without any noticeable dithering or artifacting or anything like that in real time. You can have a game running at 1080p on the hardware, make it look 4K on a big TV screen, and have it look pretty. Crazy technology going on right there. And if the Switch 2 has that, then we could be looking at some amazing, really cool stuff coming out of it. That also got me excited looking at it because what other major game that I'm really excited about is using Unreal Engine 5? Kingdom Hearts 4. If you didn't know, Kingdom Hearts 4 is using Unreal Engine 5. The trailer that we got last year was using Unreal Engine 4, so that game is going to look even prettier than it does there, and that's crazy to think about. You know, the fact that it's running the Matrix demo on the Switch 2, what could this possibly lead to? Is there going to be Kingdom Hearts 4 running natively on Switch 2? Could this be a possibility? And I even tweeted out saying like, hey, does this mean that Kingdom Hearts 4 is coming out on Switch 2? It's a really interesting proposition with this whole kind of semi-reboot thing that they're going with here. This could be a new way to get people on board. But, you know, the more I think about it, the more I kind of bring myself to reality and think about, okay, there are some things going against this. Let's kind of be more realistic here. And there are 4 big major caveats that I'm kind of looking at this with. So let's go over those. Before we get into it, I just want to state I'm not a developer. I don't know everything about game development, so there's some things that I might get wrong here or there, and if I do, I'm sorry. But I do have some knowledge of game development, and I'm going to try to use that knowledge I do have and apply it to this situation best I can. Video I do recommend is one from MVG. He made a video about the cloud versions when they first got announced for Switch. So a lot of the information that I'm basing for this video is coming from that, so go watch that too. Also, please remember, this is just a rumor. Nothing about this is 100% confirmed at all. It is from reliable sources, yes, but still just a rumor. Some things in here may not be 100% accurate. I'm going to be using it as the basis for this video just for speculation's sake, but remember, just a rumor. Firstly, this is just a demo. It's a tech demo. It is something that is there to show what is possible if you push the hardware to its limits and use all the capabilities to the fullest extent. And it's not something that's meant to represent what a final game will be. I think a lot of people forget that when they see some fancy tech demos for new stuff. People need to realize that this is just something that is pushing the hardware to its absolute limits in a small-scale environment. Once you scale something like that up to a full game, things get complicated because then you have to worry about actual resources, the file size, how much detail you can actually push in a full-scale environment. Just doesn't work out. Games this generation do look pretty good, but I've not seen anything come close to the Matrix demo so far. Yes, Unreal Engine 5 is running natively on the Switch 2 hardware, but I probably think, that's not confirmed at all, but I probably think that it's running a more condensed, modified, portable version of Unreal Engine 5 to make it easier to run on the Switch 2 itself, because of course it's not anywhere near the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. Nintendo's big motto is lateral thinking without dated technology. They ain't straying away far from that, that's for sure. The Switch is literally blue balling them with money at this point, so why would they change that? Speaking of hardware, too, the specs are not final yet. We are still about a year out from the Switch's release, so they're still working on the specs just a little bit. It's getting a little bit more finalized. They are sending dev kits out, but that's not final hardware either, and they may make some changes before release to downgrade some certain things to make it cheaper to manufacture and easier to manufacture. So the demo in August may not be representative of what the final hardware will be. Third, battery life. If it's such an intensive game, it might be taxing on the battery life. If you remember back at the launch of the Switch, that thing was getting only like 4 hours of battery life running Breath of the Wild. I think it's got a little bit better since then with better optimization. With these taxing games, that might take a lot on the battery, especially if you're running like DLSS in the background with stuff. And fourthly, the file size. Right now, the max capacity of a Switch is theoretically 64 gigabytes, and if it's backwards compatible, they'll be using the same cards, obviously, and hopefully they'll do some upgrades to the cards to make it higher capacity with all these new games. That remains to be seen. With Kingdom Hearts 4 using a realistic art style, there's going to be a lot more detail need to be added into each individual thing, and that takes up more space. It's not going to be as smooth and cartoony as the previous games were. And Kingdom Hearts 3 in of itself, I think it was like 40 or 50 gigabytes or something like that. And FF7 Rebirth, this new big Square Enix game's coming out, is 150 gigabytes. Who knows where Kingdom Hearts 4 will land, but with the downgraded textures and other things like that, it will drop the file size down significantly. That's true, but I don't even know if it'll fit in a Nintendo game card. I mean, apparently FF7 Remake was a demo. That's one of the things I've heard as well. I've not seen that confirmed by a lot of people, but that's something that was rumored as well. So if that's true, maybe they can make it work, but we'll see. All that combined together, making it a little bit less likely that Kingdom Hearts 4 could be ported to Switch. But it's not impossible. That's kind of the thing I'm talking about here. It's not impossible because these are obstacles in its way, but it is running on Unreal Engine 5, a much modified version of it probably, but it is running it in a sense. And if they do some major changes to like the game cards and the battery life, and there's not that many more modifications to the Switch hardware, they could possibly make it work. But do I think it will happen? My opinion as of right now is probably no. Here's how it's probably going to go down. Pretty sure that Square Enix does have some Switch 2 dev kits in their offices right now because Square Enix is a pretty big company and they're probably one of the high priority partners for Nintendo. They have a much better relationship than they used to have, and Square Enix games are some of the most popular and best selling on the Switch. So I'm sure they're at least briefed on it, if not have dev kits right now. Hear about the Unreal Engine 5 demo, the news makes its way to the Kingdom Hearts team, and so they say, okay, if we want to put this thing on Switch 2, what needs to be done? And they're like, okay, we need to downgrade the textures from the 4K stuff we're rendering on the 9th gen stuff to the 1080p stuff that can run on the Switch 2, if even that, maybe they have to downgrade to 900 or even 720p. They have to get rid of a lot of effects, to scale back some complex animations. They have to change some scenarios around. Some content might have to be missing as well. They're going to have to put a lot of resources into downgrading this thing to the Switch 2. So that means more time needs to go into that, and a lot more money needs to go into that as well. And as a developer, you just don't generally want to do that unless there's like a mandate from the higher ups, some sort of business deal struck with Nintendo, which I find highly unlikely because they make a deal with Sony way before they make one with Nintendo. Or there's some third-party company that comes up to them and says, hey, we have this cool technology that can downgrade this stuff, and it can do it in this X amount of time and save you this much in development costs and this much in development time, and we can do this on our own. Someone offers their services to do it for them. They'll probably just say, nah, just don't worry about it. Let's just focus on the main stuff right here, get this game done, and maybe later we can do it, but we got to focus on this right now. Day and date with the PS5 and Xbox version, no, that's not going to happen. Maybe down the line, sure, but even then, they have to pour a lot of resources into that, and that's maybe something they don't want to do. Clearly didn't want to do it for the ports of the HD remixes and all those other games. I mean, they could have just focused on the HD remixes, and maybe they could have got it out on the Switch-based hardware, which I think it probably could run that. Kingdom Hearts 3 and 0.2 and stuff, they probably shouldn't even bother with that, but they just said, fuck it, put it on a cloud, put it on a cloud server. People have been begging for it. It's going to take a while, so just put it out there on the cloud. And that's the reason they haven't been ported to Switch yet. They haven't. And no, cloud gaming does not count. It's not running on the base hardware itself. You're just streaming a video. It does not count. So they could very easily go down that route for Kingdom Hearts 4, just stream it over the cloud and just say fuck it like that. I don't know how successful the Kingdom Hearts cloud versions were, but running natively, it could happen. It just takes a lot of resources for them to do that, and they may just decide to not do it in that case. So that's why I'm saying no, probably not. Who knows? The reveal of the Switch 2 could happen, and it could be on there right now, and they could find a way to make it work, and, you know, I'll take it back if they do. Don't see it happening personally. The thing I am kind of excited about is the possibility of them being able to run the all-in-one package on there, all the other games, 1.5, 2.5, 2.8, 3. They could put all that on there, maybe some downgrading for 3 and 0.2, but those other games could probably run fine on there based on what I've heard. It's closer to PS4, Xbox One territory, and those games run really great on there, and with the DLSS, you can scale those up to 4K, and it would look amazing. Who knows? It may not take that long for them to port it over. We'll see about that. Hopefully, we'll get that at least. If they do that, I'll be fine. I don't need Kingdom Hearts 4 in that case. I already have a PS5. So there you go. The door is not completely closed for Kingdom Hearts 4 on Switch 2, but it's like slightly agape, like only just slightly open. You can see some light peeking through. You know that there's something on the other side, but that door is quite heavy to pull, and there might not be much on the other side. That's all I have for this video. Tell me down in the comments below what you guys think of this. Are you excited for the Switch 2? Do you think Kingdom Hearts 4 could run on the Switch 2? Is that something that you could be excited about? Tell me down in the comments below your opinion. Also, make sure to subscribe, like this video, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord server, turn on notifications. Really awesome if you did. This has been Matt, and I will see you guys in the next video, whatever that's going to be. So yeah, bye.